Chapter 4 The Doctor is Listening. Later that night, Tony found himself in his room, laying on his back with no place to go. He was thinking about what Gary had said about possibly talking to someone. This is when he turned his head to look at his cell phone on his nightstand. He stared at it before turning over on his side. It was shortly after that when he sat up on his bed. He had hesitation before grabbing his phone, holding it as if he was going to make a call, when he found the courage to call Dr. Lust, a call that he hoped he would not regret. The phone continued to ring when he started to think that no one was there, and just as he was ready to hang up, a voice spoke these words: "Thank you for calling Dr. Lust. All lines are currently busy, but your call is very important to us, so please stay on the line. I do have to let you know this call is being recorded for privacy and security purposes." He sat on his bed thinking to himself if he should hang up, and as he thought more about this, he started to move his phone away from his ear. It was then a man's voice was heard. "Woman, what have I told you about playing that recording when we're not busy?" "Dr. Lust," she said, and with anger in his voice, "There is no lust for you, yet do this all the time." She tried to reason with him, as Tony continued to listen to their conversation, almost certain that these two had no idea that they had not put themselves on hold. "I only want people to think you're a busy man." "I'm not listening to you." "You must. You have your first caller in 5 hours." And in a pleasant voice, "Hi, this is Dr. Lust. I am always here to answer any questions you might have about anything. I'm your long-distance friend when no one else will listen to you. I see you're a first-time caller. You know what I like to do with new callers? I like to give them Indian names." Tony was lost, thinking to himself, he likes to give his callers Indian names. Why Indian names? Are there a lot of people from the tribe calling him needing lust after midnight? And before Tony could ask him anything, he continued, "I think if I knew something about you, I would be calling you Little Loaded Gun, and you would be telling me you have not had a girl in a while, and I would be telling you that on that night you are going to be a rabbit." There was silence as Tony sat there holding his phone. "Don't be shy. There is no problem too much for Dr. Lust. So go ahead. There's no need to be afraid." Tony sat there moving his phone away from his ear. He was close to hanging up when he decided to talk with him, moving his phone to his ear again. "First off, there is nothing little down there. Are you seeing a therapist?" "No, I am not seeing a therapist." "Are you horny?" "I am." Tony looked around, wondering, what the hell kind of doctor is this? There was hesitation in his voice. "I guess I am. According to you, if I had a girl, I would be Peter Rabbit?" Tony was already feeling uncomfortable with him, and any more surprises would probably make him hang up. "Am I on the air?" He knew that he was on the air, and he needed to feel trust before revealing anything else about himself. Yes. And it was that one word that he needed to hear that made him feel a little comfortable. "Do you have a name?" Dr. Lust asked. Tony said nothing right away, thinking about if he wanted to give his name over the air, in fear that someone he might know might be listening. He knew Gary listened, but he did not know if Julie did, and she might have been listening on this night. He knew Dr. Lust had no idea who he was, and a small lie was not going to send him to hell. So he told him he was Bubba Mayberry, and he accepted his answer. Don't laugh. There could be an Italian guy out there named Bubba. Tony was relaxed, as if he had just answered the final Jeopardy question and had gotten it right, telling himself, that wasn't so difficult. All he wanted to know was my name, and there could be nothing any harder than coming up with a fake name that was believable in 10 seconds or less. And then it happened, when he asked him to say something about himself in 60 seconds, so he would have a better idea of what he was like. He began to panic and sweat, as if hell had tracked him down using GPS because of his lie from earlier. Should I tell him my real name? Should I hang up? What should I do? His state of mind had him spinning out of control, that Julie, the girl of his dreams, was listening, and she would never be able to look at him in the eye after this because of his lie. Tony began to pace back and forth, thinking to himself, "Look at me. Brown Eyes can't go to prison. Although there is nothing to do. I could work on my rock-hard chest. But would Aaron still want to visit me if I was pumped?" It was then he opened up like a dump truck, unloading sand. "I have gorgeous brown eyes, so I have been told. Well, they are. I have looked in the mirror. My date, if I had one, would not have to worry about coming home with odors on their clothes after a date with me, as if I wrestled pigs all day. I don't know why I have been thinking about pig wrestling. I don't want to wrestle pigs personally, but pig wrestling has been on my mind. I did take cough syrup today, and maybe that is making me hallucinate and think about pigs. I'm not a good fighter, so the pig would probably win. I don't know why I just told you that. I don't have foot odors, and I want to be a computerist, but not a hacker. That would be a code breaker. I find I must tell people that because between you and I, there are people who would not know how to get water out of a shoe, even if the instructions were on the heel. I get really hurt when women tell me that they would rather try government cheese for the first time instead of a first date with me. I go to my doctor on a regular basis, and he tells me that I have a lot of sperm. So maybe I am a little loaded gun, and maybe I will be Peter Rabbit on that night, and maybe my woman will feel like I just flew her to the moon with my awesomeness in the bedroom. I think that was close to 60 seconds. There was silence until, "You don't have to be afraid," he said. "I'm nervous, not afraid," Tony told him. He knew this guy was starting to understand him, even if his professionalism was questionable. "I think you're afraid of not meeting somebody." Tony thought about this before sharing. Aren't we all afraid of being alone, even if we have people by our side at this moment? "Bubba, what do you really want?" "I want this girl to call me." Sometimes doctors think they are funny, when in truth they really are not. To a doctor, a patient who is having routine surgery may be more relaxed knowing that they are not going to die if they hear, "It is a simple procedure that is performed daily." But if you add, "You're more likely to die from the anesthetic than the surgery itself." "Have you told her you have a lot of sperm?" Tony was anything but amused. "I think I will hang up now." He knew after saying that he had made a bad joke. He wanted to help him, but more so, he needed to keep him talking if he was going to get new listeners, knowing his ratings were lower than a radio show about gerbils in the afternoon. And with sincerity, "You want this girl to call you. Does she have a name?" "Just call her the One." Why her, and why not someone else? He knew he had not lost him over his silly joke, and he knew he needed someone to talk with. Tony found himself becoming relaxed, and he could hear at times that Dr. Lust did want to talk with him. And with emotion, Tony opened up. "She has a great personality. I've only talked with her a couple of times on the phone, but when I do, I feel like I don't with other women. I think we would get along good." It was then as if a bomb had dropped. Don't be in such a hurry to have a relationship. Tony believed that his time had come to settle down, and he did not want to wait any longer for his soulmate. And he expressed this. "I'm 20-something without a girl. Why is it that everybody else is happy, but I have to wait? I know I want her to call me, but I don't think she wants me. Other than that, I'm not sure why I called you." "You called because you wanted me to tell you how to get the one." Maybe he was right. Maybe he was looking for that secret on how to make her his. He sat there, and he knew that he wanted a clear answer on how to get Julie to notice him. Dr. Lust did not have a magic wand that would bring Julie to him. How could he? This was not like opening a dictionary and searching for a word that he did not know the meaning of, turning to that page to find a clear definition of that word. There was dead air between them until Dr. Lust told him, I can't give you a date with her. If she calls, start small. Have dinner. And if she doesn't, there's somebody out there for you, even if she isn't. Is this the part where I hang up? Unless you have another girl you want to talk about. He wanted more, but he knew another 20 minutes would not change anything. So he accepted what he had been told. Good night. Tony sat holding his phone. Dr. Lust had discontinued the call, and before putting his phone down on his nightstand, he grabbed his mirror and looked at himself. Julie, the one person who doesn't like my eyes.